Are you gonna start it?
Yeah, okay. Starting in 3, 2, 1.
Are we live?
I think we're live.
Cool. I wish we had better audio quality. I'm gonna turn this off. And we're live.
I just
Welcome, everybody.
went outside, right, to take a piss. Because sometimes I get lazy, and instead of walking all the way inside from the studio, I just kind of like go into the backyard and take a piss. My philosophy is that the dogs do it, so it should be fine. I started doing this like a couple months ago, and then I started to notice like I wouldn't want my parents to hear me take a piss in the backyard, right?
Yeah.
So I would just kind of like move my stream around in the backyard, just kind of like back and forth.
I don't know about this.
Kind of like a semicircle around me. Okay, so then after like a few weeks, I noticed that there was this like dry patch of grass, like dead grass.
Yeah.
In like the general
exact
area, and I was like, but the thing is, it seemed way too slow, and I couldn't really tell as it was changing.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, is that from my piss? Yeah. So what I did, because I didn't have Eli there with me to talk about it. I didn't consult Eli. He wasn't my first thought, but now I know I can talk to you about those sort of things. So what I did instead was I did a controlled scientific experiment.
As usual with pee in your backyard.
So I like moved my stream over to one specific area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So every time I would just pee in the same exact spot.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. And then I was just outside taking a piss, and I realized, I think it's because the progression is so slow, but it's just like there's like a hole in the ground there of just like dead, rotten grass.
Mm-hmm. That's
dried up. Most of it's turned dirt at this point, and I just realized that because it's been so slow.
Huh.
So is there just like a semicircle and a dot of pee, just of dead grass?
Like a hole. Like a gay hole.
You could just stick a signpost in there.
Yeah.
It'll be, this is where Sam pees. Nobody else pee here.
Yeah, I like to claim that spot as my own because I figure I don't know.
Dominance.
I don't know if it's but I think that'll be like the circle thing.
Yeah.
I kind of like the circle vibe because it's like a barrier to the studio.
Okay.
If the dogs are gonna come in and disturb us while we're doing the podcast from the backyard, there's just this barrier of my it's my wall of territory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There won't be any male dogs coming around there any soon.
Yeah. And so my
Well,
question.
there'll be more male dogs.
I think they stay away.
Well, unless they're.
I was
they're like,
making a Sam attracts male dogs joke. Anyway, continue.
that was clever. Yeah, no, I was just thinking, like, so because it seems like it's a really slow progression.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like, why is it so slow? Like, you think, the grass is out in the sun and it kind of withers.
Yeah.
Over a few days. But if you pee on it, it takes like weeks.
Well,
And then it stays like that because I haven't been peeing in the semicircle. I've just been peeing in that one spot.
Yeah.
And the semicircle's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going away? Is it semicircle?
I can't really tell because it's just, again, it's too slow. I should start taking pictures though.
You probably should, yeah.
Yeah.
And make it be like those videos where people take a picture of themselves every single day.
Taking a picture.
Right.
But it's
Every
just
day.
taking a picture of dead grass every day.
Yeah, I'll set up a tripod, do a little like umbrella thing over it. So I was just wondering, should I continue peeing in that same spot, like that hole, just so that there's one massive ugly spot?
Yeah.
Or should I spread it out? Shouldn't maybe I pee in a different spot every day so it doesn't, so it doesn't.
Well, pretty soon then that whole area where you pee is just going to be dead and rotten.
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah,
Does
I
it
think
take?
you should
Is
just-
it the amount of pee?
You should just keep
Or is it
peeing in the
just
same
any-
spot, or maybe pee on the fence.
Yeah, well, okay. I guess it
That's a
depends if
valid
the fence
solution.
has grass underneath it.
Yeah, but it won't.
Well,
be like
and then that's
peeing in
more
grass.
visible. So if anyone comes out into the backyard, they'll just see like a wet
Somebody
spot.
definitely peed on this fence.
And it's like it's gonna be too high for the.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just gonna end up on the floor anyway, and then there's also gonna be a stain on the fence.
Piss stain.
Yeah. I was just letting the gals No, with
Oh
streaming.
yeah. It's a, yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing to start with. When'd you come up with that?
I don't know, when I was outside peeing before the podcast started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how's your day/week been?
Well, speaking of pee, we had
Wait, hold-
we had a science experiment today in science.
Oh,
which
actually, like
required-
an actual
yeah,
science
and
experiment.
it was ammonia, where it like figuring out acids and bases.
Yeah.
And I
we
didn't.
did the same one.
Yeah, I didn't do a lot. I should have. Well, I should have, but I was just kind of screwing around the whole time.
So was it like you? Was it, speaking of pee? Was there actual pee?
no, it was
involved?
ammonia, but it smelled.
People said it smelled like pee, cat pee.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Exactly
The
what
ammonia.
one person said.
Yeah. So ammonia is the reason all my fish died.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the filter broke, and so it's just like piss built up in the tank.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
Which is ammonia. So maybe it was ammonia extracted from piss.
It could have been,
it was.
or maybe from like cleaning solutions.
Wasn't it? I think it was. It wasn't bleach, but it was like. It was just ammonia, right?
Yeah, I think it was just
That
because
was
it
the
didn't
chemical?
smell like bleach or it didn't smell
Yeah,
like
yeah.
our cleaning products.
It was just ammonia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I usually in science I don't do much. I just try to not fuck up the science experiment.
Oh yeah, I see that.
And well, I'm working on it. But yeah, my team doesn't let me do anything.
Yeah, I could see that. I have a Dylan story.
Yeah, last science experiment we did, I knocked over the stuff and like so we were doing a lab on carbon dioxide, right? So we had the this little alchemia, whatever it's called, osmia, something whatever, it's a flask.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? And the classic science flask. And it's we put in water and then we put in a tab of Alka-Seltzer and put a cork on top so that the atmosphere would get saturated with, or the air would get saturated with CO2, so we could see if it held heat better, for global warming and stuff.
Okay. So
Can I?
so you have a flask,
Yeah.
and you're seeing if global warming exists in it, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Because of CO2, and I knock over the flask, letting out all of the CO2, and we get no results for the rest of the experiment. So,
Yeah.
as with pretty much every science experiment we've done this year, we fabricate the results because we're not doing real science.
Yeah, you could just look up what like kind of the results are that you're
No,
supposed
we
to
just
get.
make them up, and she just accepts them.
Because it's just like, oh, you must have done the experiment wrong or something like that. Like there's so many factors that could have been
Yeah.
variables, and you probably messed this up.
Hey, listen, we got this answer instead of that answer. Do you want us to write a conclusion on that? It's like, nah.
Oh, so you get out of work. You don't have to do the
supposed to write
experiment,
the
and you don't have to write it.
conclusion.
No,
that
we have to
everybody
write the
else is
conclusion.
writing.
We just have to write the conclusion on data we didn't get.
Yeah.
We have to be like,
yeah.
we got the wrong. So our conclusion, our hypothesis was this, and we were correct, but we were wrong.
Global
Yeah.
warming doesn't actually exist.
I mean,
But just in case you were wondering, we figured it out in the test tube that global warming doesn't actually exist. And then the teacher's just like,
no.
wait.
Yeah,
I
I
mean-
like how science teachers, like, you get data that you aren't supposed to on a science experiment, and they're like, that's not supposed to happen. And then other kids start getting it, and they're like, what are you guys doing? And we're all the kids are like, we're doing all the stuff that the paper's saying. And it's like,
Yeah.
I didn't get that when I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dylan's just knocking stuff over in science. Yeah. There's a kid. I'm gonna publicly denounce Ryan Gleish for always ruining our experience, or always ruining our experiments. No, so I would go over to Dylan's house like quite often because I give his younger sister clarinet lessons, and I noticed that I always laughed like way too much when I went over there, and I finally figured it out the other week.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dylan is kind of a klutz. He's a mildly ADHD.
Mildly.
Okay, extremely ADHD. I think the thing about Dylan is that like he's incredibly creative and intelligent, and I think that part of his brain like is like too much of his brain, and like sometimes clogs out the other bits.
Like the bits that help me do basic motor functions.
Yeah,
And like,
like-
walking.
Like he's getting out of this is a while ago, like maybe a year ago. He got out of my mom's car. She drove him home, and he just left the door open, left like half of his stuff in the car, and then just walked back to his house. So anyway, what I was thinking was so funny about like why I figured out why I always laugh at so much at Dylan's house, because you know in your own home at least you think that you'd be able to like
Know where things are.
you know like pick up a glass without dropping it or whatever. Like he'll cook eggs. The eggs, okay, luckily actually eggs don't usually end up on the floor.
Not usually, no.
Not usually.
They used to, but I've grown
But
out of that.
he'll leave the eggs on for too long, you know. He'll just
Forget
kind
to
of
turn off the gas. That's happened more than it should.
yeah. And so I always just think it's so funny sitting there watching Dylan try to maneuver around his own home. You know, like Dylan's habitat, he just can't he can't
Even
function.
in.
You
Yeah.
know, you think that would be the one place that you would actually anyway. So
That's why I'm so glad to be in a relationship with someone who's the exact opposite of that.
someone who can manage you, right?
Yeah,
Someone
someone
who's
who's-
like, nope, you can
Yeah, no, you can't put that doesn't go in the refrigerator.
right. Or
Anyway,
yeah, my mom is going
you
through
don't freeze chips.
my mom is going through menopause
Yeah.
right now, and I'm noticing a lot of similarities between you and her.
We're similar, actually.
Okay, my mom told me 3 times that she made the mistake of putting the I think it was a half and half in like the a kitchen cabinet instead of the
Yeah.
refrigerator. But she told me that several times. Like I hadn't heard it from her.
Was
Yeah,
it like
yeah,
3
yeah.
separate times, or was it like all?
I mean, it was all within like a few weeks, I think.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, even then.
But
You
it's just
should
like I mean, you've
still-
told me that. Like it's the one time where I'm like, okay, mom, you already told me that. And then
Yeah.
the third time, it's just like,
I don't. You just go along with it at
yeah,
that
yeah,
point.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do that sometimes where it's like, I'll like someone will tell me something, and it's just like after they've told me for the 5th time, I'm just like, yeah, okay, I'll hear this again.
Is it like or how Dylan just will read through a book or the pages, right? Dylan, you tell me this. You read through a page, and then the next one, then the next one. Then you have to go back to the first one
Yeah.
because you just didn't like remember anything from it.
Mhm. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird and annoying, but whatever. Some people, yeah, it's a trade-off, I guess.
Right. So because of your impaired basic motor functions,
Yeah.
um,
Oh, also, I
the-
can't write properly.
oh, you have like dysgraphia.
Well,
that's
yeah,
it.
I have
Or that's the
dysgraphia.
made up term for what you have,
Yeah, that's a made-up term.
so that he can get
your
away
gram-
with it.
Just your grammar skills too, like your handwriting and your grammar.
Yeah,
skills.
my handwriting and my.
Don't
grammar
I get
skills,
texts from
guess.
you and either?
I think texting's different though.
Oh,
Well,
I text weird though.
Yeah,
You do text
He
really
like
weird.
makes certain letters uppercase, like just certain words uppercase in
Actually,
the middle of his sentence.
Really? Even texting?
Yeah.
That's really weird. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Dylan's texts are always funny. So
Not what I'm saying. How I
I
say
don't
it.
know a lot of time
Oh,
what you're
what I'm
saying too.
saying?
You,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you have some interesting ideas. So Dylan is also not only is he very bad at holding things and maneuvering things.
Yeah.
I think actually I can really relate to that because my dad used to always make fun of me for dropping. Like I would carry a bowl of oatmeal almost across the house, right? Like I would almost be able
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
it, but it would like I would always drop bowls of shit on the floor, like, consistently. It was like but you know, he would still let me carry around his like. I mean, after a while, he would let me carry around his like expensive camera gear and
Yeah,
stuff
Yeah.
because there's something about like focusing on
Yeah.
it. So I don't know. Maybe as a kid, I had like a little bit of adhd.
Well, yeah, I
But
don't know.
I think it's
You're-
just like a kid thing.
Yeah, I think some of it definitely is a kid thing, and I think that's where people get confused between ADHD and childhood,
Yeah.
right? Being a boy, you know. a lot of people are like, "What? ADHD isn't real. It's just being a boy." It's like, well, it is if you act like a 7-year-old when you're 16.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem. It's like, sure, yeah, it is being a boy, but no, it's a little late. Like I shouldn't be this clumsy, and I shouldn't be this
Like they wouldn't have made China if everyone acted like that. right?
unfocused. I guess not.
So okay, but that's another thing I want to ask you about. Is you have all these problems with carrying stuff, especially if you're not like thinking about it.
Yeah.
But you're also a dishwasher.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
I
So
dropped my first dish the other day.
how long does it normally take people? Like, what's the average that it takes people?
What's the average? Oh wait, no, I dropped 2. I think in the same day.
Dylan, are you the reason why your family eats off of paper plates?
Ooh, that I never thought about that. I might be. No, I don't know. I think
Or
it's
like
just
just
'cause-
awful plastic ones.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think it's just because can't be bothered to wash dishes, and
That could be another. Yeah.
paper plates are nice. They're a nice thing.
Oh yeah, we have a friend. Shout out to Logan Reese. When I was in elementary school, I'd go over to his house a lot, and he had this tall table
Yeah.
and a dog named Oliver. I think it was
Yeah.
a golden lab, and
Wonder if Oliver's still around. Shout out to Oliver.
shout out to
Logan Reese's dog.
yeah.
Shout out to Logan Reese's mom for always giving me rides home from cross country.
She's not dead.
No.
But we can still give her a shout out.
Yeah. And
I mean-
this is
like
was
if-
just a separate thing. I just
Oh, okay, I
smell-
see.
I wanted to smell like. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, and so the dog, like we'd have paper plates and paper napkins, and the napkins, like you would have to fight to keep your napkin through dinner. The dog would jump up, not eat the food, would just eat the paper napkin.
Snatch your napkins.
You'd always see him with a paper napkin in his mouth.
Got him.
It's like we're not even eating dinner, and he still has a paper napkin in his mouth.
Where did he get is he saving them?
It's I don't know why they even. I mean, I'm assuming that he ate the other napkins too, which is why they use paper.
Probably.
But I don't know. So,
Well,
I guess
no,
dogs,
I
like-
think most people use paper napkins. It's
I
not.
don't know,
a
but do you think that
regular thing
you
to
think that they
use.
would get rid of the paper napkins if the dog just keeps eating them?
I guess. Well,
Like they'd switch from.
maybe not. You'd be surprised how much people tolerate.
Yeah. I mean, my family rarely gets actual napkins, and we don't. This sounds bad, but we don't usually eat a lot of foods that require napkins. So if
Yeah.
it is messy, we just use tissues or toilet paper.
Yeah.
Mm.
Nah, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, if you're not gonna use them all the time, we eat a lot of stuff with like we eat stuff with sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So tends
Sauce,
to
oils.
tends to get all over the place.
Yeah. Especially with Dylan.
Especially-
Maybe you are the reason that your family uses paper plates and napkins at all.
Yeah, like
Like,
napkins not a regular thing for most people, but given that
It's ju-
I exist,
Yeah.
Maybe you should just
no.
ask your parents, be like, "Hey,
I don't want to.
why do we use paper?"
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I'd rather not know.
So
But it's like, wait, hold on.
Okay.
One more thing. What was I gonna say? Eating stuff with sauce. Yeah. There was this one time though. I'm pretty good at eating food. That's usually not something I struggle with.
okay.
The
The motivation is there.
yeah. It's like I want to get this into my mouth.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you're done with your thought.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Continue.
And so I eat over at friend, or at least I used to eat over at friends' houses a lot. Specifically, my friend Ben. Shout out to Russell Wilson. I don't want to shout out Ben. So I was like, shout out to Ben.
Yeah, that's just kind of nasty. If you
I
say.
guess that's nasty.
I don't. It's like like who would do a public denouncement almost.
That's a fair point.
And that's just nasty. I don't think you should do it on the
Shout out
podcast.
to Ben. Oh.
Oh no! Shout outs are good. I'm just saying don't publicly denounce someone.
Oh, I thought
That's
you said
like
I don't think you
Our
should. be on
third
the podcast.
shout out, though. Like,
Shout out to
we're
Ben
gonna
Holden.
start hitting shout out limit.
That's all
What's
right.
the limit?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Right?
Ooh.
Okay. Anyway, so I used to eat over at his house a lot. And they were eating tacos one night, and I was done, and everyone looked over, and I had eaten 2 tacos, and my plate was completely clean. They were like, "How the hell did you eat 2 hard shell tacos and not
Damn.
spill a drop?"
Maybe you're saving it. You're saving your like motor function.
For eating tacos.
Yeah.
Maybe it all went.
It's like a
into your
coma
shirt.
patient who stands up and can, like win the Olympics.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
Or maybe you're really bad at eating and it just goes into your shirt.
And I'm so scatterbrained that I just don't notice.
Yeah. No, like you notice, but then you forget.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
by the end of dinner, you don't know that you don't remember that there's anything down there.
Yeah.
And it's gonna ask you to be like I don't know.
I literally have no
Yeah.
recollection.
You take off your shirt right before you go into the shower and you're like, I don't remember playing in any mud puddles
Yeah.
today.
Or like, why have I got mustard in my belly button?
Yeah. Save it for later.
Look up WebMD.
Yeah. So
belly button
I'm-
mustard.
What was I wondering? I was wondering something when we were talking about. Yeah. So how long have you been at working where you're working? At
How long have I
Chocmo.
been working? No,
As
it's
a
not
dishwasher.
Chocmo. And I work at Crabtree. It's a new
Wait.
restaurant.
Wait, hold on. You did work at Chocmo though.
No, I didn't.
You.
No. So
Wait, what was the Chocmo thing about?
Chocmo was the first thing founded by a guy. Then he created a couple more stores.
So
and I
you
think-
got transferred basically.
No. Then he created High Spirits, I think, and then he created Crabtree most recently.
Mm.
And and I thought that I got a job at Chocmo because that's their management name. Chocmo owns the Crabtree. restaurant.
Oh, so
it was
you
like
you
Chocmo's
applied to.
hiring me, but they're hiring me as a dishwasher for the restaurant Crabtree.
I see. Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
So I'm wondering. So how long have you been working at Crabtree then?
For
For Chocmo. For Chocmo at Crabtree.
3 weeks, I think.
Do you think that the reason that you just dropped your first 2 dishes the other day, do you think that's because you like are at that point where you don't
A little
care as
comfortable.
much? A little comfortable? Yeah.
I wouldn't say I don't care as much, but I'd say I'm more comfortable
Yeah.
with the job. I think
Like
so, yeah.
Like I'm
Or
more
at least-
comfortable carrying my oatmeal than I am my dad's cameras.
Yeah. Like you're like, I'm not gonna drop this. So I don't know. Yeah, and also part of it is like that day. It's what Crabtree likes to do, because they're a new restaurant. They're understaffed, which is partly why I wanted you boys to apply.
I don't think us working together.
Yeah, we shouldn't work together because then you're going to get distracted. I'm going to get distracted. You're just going to get pissed off.
That's kind of how our entire dynamic works. Like the three
Yeah.
of us, it's just you guys like getting distracted on something, and then I'm like, "What, guys? I invited you over
stop
to
being
do stuff."
distracted.
Like, what the fuck, you guys? And then I just like start screaming at everyone, and no one has a good time after that because it's like Dylan and Eli will have a. That's kind of how our entire our group dynamic a lot of the time is like. Dylan and Eli have fun together because they can talk about whatever they want to talk about.
Yeah.
And then Dylan and I can hang out because we talk about whatever. Eli and I hang out, we talk about whatever. But when we all hang out, there's just something wrong.
Yeah,
And then
it's
we-
a little off.
Yeah, and then
It's just unbalanced.
yeah.
We need a fourth person.
We need a fourth person. Yeah, so we're taking applications. No, no. We'll
Yeah.
struggle until I don't know.
Or maybe we should do more fights.
I think we should
Fight each other more.
Yeah, I want to fight you more.
I'm going to end up hurting Dylan and
Again.
and losing.
and
Yeah.
losing. Yeah. what ended up happening last time me and Eli fought was Oh, okay. I feel like we need to give a bit of background because saying that-
Dylan, okay, one day Dylan and I were just like, let's fight. And so we went over to this big field. We started fighting. And I tried doing the best I could. I'm really skinny and kind of weak. But I was like jumping on him and just wham.
Yeah.
And Dylan ended up getting really hurt. Yet the only thing that I got was like a bloody lip.
Well, I mean, the thing is that like you always hear from like people in dojos and stuff. The best people to fight against are yeah, sure. The best people to fight against are black belts, right? Because you're not only thank you. You're not only as you train up to being a black belt.
Shout out
you're-
to Alex for leaving his water bottle here.
Oh yeah. Is this been tainted?
Yeah, it's been tainted.
I'll just take off the lid. Anyway, yeah, like it's not just like being able to fight that you get through becoming a black belt, right? It's control of your body, you know? So a white belt is more likely to accidentally hurt you than a black belt is, because a black belt
Yeah, I
knows
see
what
that.
the hell they're doing, you know?
Right.
And yeah, and so I'm not saying I'm a black belt by any means, but I think to some degree wait, actually that doesn't follow with our narrative. I shouldn't have more control over my body.
Well, no, I mean it follows the
You have
whole
more experience.
I guess I
idea
have
of
more
you eating your
experience, that's
tacos,
true.
right?
Yeah, I guess
It follows the
that's
whole
true.
like when you
Yeah.
need it, you can be really good
I
with
can
yourself.
pull it out, but just I guess most
Don't
of the
pull it
time.
out though, not on the podcast.
Not on the podcast.
Yeah.
Not when me and Eli are wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a squirmy boy.
You are a squirmy boy.
Dylan can like hold me down, and I can get out of it.
Mm.
I can put my entire weight on Eli, just in like a regular pin, and you can wiggle your way on out of
Yeah.
it.
But
think-
then there was the last time where I wasn't able to get out of it, but Dylan said I could have if I just moved my head back, and I would have been able to headbutt him.
Well, no, the thing is that the way I had to pin him last time, because I can't pin him when he's on his back because he's such a squirmy boy, is I had to get behind him and hold his arms back and then wrap my right leg around his right leg and my left leg around his left leg. So I was just constraining all of his limbs, and he was lying with his back on top of me, and I was like lying on my back, and I was just like, you know, stayed up. It's like constraining a mental patient.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, you're not easy to pin down.
Yeah, I think what the reason, like Dylan and I we did our first fight because it's like we were both, just for some reason we just got really into fighting. I don't know what it was,
'Cause, yeah, I don't know.
but
I think honestly, it was probably listening to the Drogon podcast.
oh, that could be it. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
definitely
yeah, yeah.
it. And we started eating elk meat.
That's why Aiden wanted to start this podcast in the beginning. It was like the
Drogon podcast.
Joe podcast. And then of course, like as soon as we wanted to like start a podcast, we just stopped listening to Joe Rogan's
The
podcast.
Drogon podcast.
Because I also don't think it's a good. Well, I don't know.
I don't know if it's good for early podcasts to take after that podcast.
Yeah,
right?
it's not-
'Cause it's like they know what the fuck they're doing. You know.
Well,
duh.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like, not only duh, but Joe Rogan is such a he's done. I don't know actually. I mean, he's done so much. First of all, his setup is really professional.
Oh, yeah.
His like, the people he brings on, he can bring. His entire show is dependent on guests, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he never does. Well, he did used to do one in the beginning on his own, but
There was just him like screaming at a webcam or something, right?
I've watched a few of them. I've scrolled for a while, and oh my god,
Mm.
the fact that he has like a national podcast now and he started from that is just a testament to like, holy crap, we can do it, guys.
Well, I
Like-
mean, you can go back with anything and be like, "Oh, we could do it," because
Not like, but it's different with YouTube because it's like, with like television, right? You just see it's all polished. You're like, ah, I could never do that, ever.
Right.
You know.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a way lower bar of entry.
There is no bar
but,
of entry.
Yeah, at the same time, well, I mean, yeah, but at the same time though, it's like you see a lot of really successful, whether like podcasts or YouTube channels or whatever, that are, you know, they're really high end now, and you look back and they're like, oh, they had such humble origins, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then you don't see the countless ones that are just the humble origins
Yeah.
and nothing else. Anyway, so The Joe Rogan podcast.
The
was
Drogan
fun.
podcast.
The Drogan podcast.
I call it the Drogan podcast.
Drogon. Yeah, I also wouldn't. I wouldn't want this podcast to be anything like the Joe Rogan podcast. Also,
No, his is
I don't like
completely-
his style as much. Like, it doesn't really resonate with me a whole bunch.
I like his style in that the same reason I would listen to like an NPR podcast, you know? Like just
Yeah, it's more. It feels more
it
informational.
gets you thinking, you know? And it's like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
my god, it's really interesting every time, pretty much.
A lot of the time.
like
yeah.
almost all the he's gotten it to where it's interesting like a lot of
Yeah.
the time. And I'd be really interested to hear like how he goes about preparing interviewing guests.
Yeah, that I mean, I guess that's one of the things.
Good at that. He knows
Yeah.
what he's doing when it comes to that.
Yeah, and it's all improvised, right? Or he probably like memorizes some stuff beforehand or something.
well, I'm
Has
I mean,
general
I'm
ideas of where he
sure.
wants to take the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure like with everything, he's like got a skeleton he wants to slither through. But if it goes off, it's like the whole tree branch thing with the podcast.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You plant a sapling at the beginning of the podcast, you watch it grow, you pay attention to the branches, and then you come back to them when you've run out
Yeah.
of conversation.
Yeah. Speaking of doing that, so after Dylan and I were inspired by the Joe Rogan podcast to get into fighting, we did like a ton of we just did a ton of research into different things that you could do. I remember Dylan just like walked up to me and he was like, "Hey, just stand there," and then I was like, "No," and then he was like, "No, really," and I was like, "But," he's like, "I won't hurt you," and I was like, "You will though." And then he comes over. And I was like, fine. And then he comes over and he hurts me. He did that thing where he kind of walks up and then sneaks his foot behind my foot, and then just pushes me.
Yeah.
It's like that game that you play.
Beginner like jiu-jitsu moves.
Oh yeah, like a takedown.
Like a
Just
takedown.
basic
Yeah.
takedown, right?
Single leg takedown.
Yeah, and yeah. So we went to like an old school that shut down, and just kind of fought in the field there. And it started off as like us just like we took our shoes off.
Yeah.
That was like the first rule,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was like no face,
Yeah.
no hair,
Yeah.
no balls,
Yeah.
and that was kind of the whole thing.
That was pretty
It's
much
like
it.
just don't like rupture any organs or anything
Yeah.
like that. It was just, and it was literally just like the beginning was just us kind of prancing around each other like a
Mhm.
pair of gazelles, getting
Yeah.
ready to like either fight or mate. I don't know how gazelles work,
Yeah.
but and then like eventually like we would just kind of like throw punches every once in a while. Dylan
Yeah.
had this killer like, what is it? Side hook? Is that what you call it?
So, yeah.
He just like he swing his arm in kind of a semicircle, just like the piss semicircle.
Yeah.
It was about. I think his was a bit more of a full circle than mine was.
Mm.
In my piss circle, I didn't do a semicircle punch.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I would just do like the straight arm punches, which I don't think hurt as much as your momentum driven.
Yeah,
Just
well,
like
I
this.
would try to get as much momentum as possible.
Yeah, he really put his body into it.
Yeah.
And so I was just like had my left arm was just insanely bruised.
Yeah.
And then I kept trying to do this kick on him, because I signed up for a martial arts class, which ended up being not that good. I really liked the guy there. I'm not gonna say which one it is because I just said that it wasn't very good. But I like the guy and it might work for other people. But anyway, so I was trying to kick him because I wanted to kick him.
Yeah.
So I was using I think I was using my right leg.
Yeah.
And I would just like lift up and kick. But every time I did that though, he would bring up his leg, and then I end up just like kicking him with my shin on his shin. So I did that once. I would bring up my leg, try to do like I don't know, what was it, like a swan kick, something just straight on, kind of thing. And but as soon as I brought my leg up, he would just like slam down his leg on top of my leg, bruising my shin.
Yeah.
So okay, the first time he did that, my shin hurt a
Yeah.
lot. It was definitely bruised.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, he's not gonna put his leg up again because I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna like sneak around him this way, distract him with a punch. I lift my leg up to kick him, and he just like slammed his leg down again
Yeah.
on my leg, bruising my shin even further in the exact
Yeah.
same spot. Okay, and then it happens a third time.
Yeah.
I lift up. I think I tried the other leg in between or something. The same
Yeah.
thing happened there. So my leg was just completely destroyed, and we were still kind of like prancing around each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened after that? I think someone went in for a takedown. We
Yeah.
both kind of rolled onto the ground.
And then we both kind of like got enough balls to kind of like actually fight each other, you know, instead
Yeah.
of just like prancing around.
Yeah, and then
And
we
that,
just
the same thing.
it's like it was so after the prancing around, we just kind of like latched onto each other almost. It felt like we were just like grabbing
yeah,
and
just beating. Yeah,
yeah, and
as
then
much as we could.
we both fell to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then just within
Made love passionate. No.
like between like our mini like couple second sessions of coitus, we would just like be pounding each. Well, actually, during the okay. Anyway, but no, it ended up with just like I think. So we were just kind of beating each other up, and then it took like less than 20 seconds for the whole fight to be over, which I think is what they say about most fights, right? It's like well, actually, it's like less than that. Most of the time, it's like one good hit or one good grapple for the fight to be over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know like a ton about fighting, but like real life fights, a lot of the time that's how it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It usually one person's immediately gets an upper hand over the other person.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I think what did you do? You just
What did I do? I don't know. I don't remember how I did it, but I remember. I remember your main thing that you would do is you would lift your head up to get like leverage to get the rest of your body up. So what I ended up doing was just holding your head down to the ground so that you couldn't
Huh.
lift it up.
wait. So how? Okay, I'm lifting my head up. What was I trying to do?
Well, you would just use that to like shove me off. You would get enough. You would get up
Oh.
enough and then like turn and shove me off. But
Huh.
I was like, if you can't get your head up, you can't.
Yeah. Control the parts that matter.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think our fight went similar as well. In that,
so.
like,
Well, in the same sort of fashion, where like you had to figure out a way to keep me from like squirming.
well, no. I don't mean in that respect. I mean, just the whole, like prancing around at the beginning, and
Mhm.
like, I remember in our fight, I literally turned my back and closed my eyes and was like, Eli, go.
And I didn't want to do it. I'm like, I wouldn't even. I just didn't want to do that just because, not because I had the upper hand, but yeah, it was. I didn't want to do it because I had the upper hand.
Right. He wanted like a fair fight.
I guess so,
see.
but yeah, I don't know. It's just like at the beginning of. That's why I think fighting is so good. 'Cause
And plus, if Eli doesn't make it, then you gave him the upper hand and he didn't make it, right?
That's true. Yeah. I guess that's more. Yeah.
Yeah. Who won that fight?
Between us, Dylan did.
Yeah.
Dylan held me down at the end. What was the rules like? How many seconds or whatever? And so
Yeah.
yeah.
Has there been any fight where Sam has won?
No, we
haven't
need to
fought
fight
since
again.
then.
I think you might win the next time, but I don't know.
Is it just
I
because
want
you've
to
done
see.
jujitsu, or
No, I didn't really.
did you
We did-
learn anything from jujitsu?
So I went to like a jiu-jitsu place. I think it'd be really fun to do jiu-jitsu, and I love the people there. And okay, I wanna give another shout out because I don't think we've done enough of those
No.
yet. Thanks.
We have 5, including Russell Wilson.
Nice.
Can we exclude Russell Wilson?
Okay, so 4.
Unshout out.
And
Russell
shout
Wilson.
out to Russell Wilson. Yeah, you don't need to check him out.
He gets
Honestly,
it.
I don't know if he even needs the recognition from us.
No.
Like I think he's a big enough name where he might not need our support.
I'm starting to think that.
Yeah.
And we've supported him in the past, and honestly, if anything comes up in the future, glad to support him in the future. But I think as it stands, we're gonna pull back a little from that. So.
Yeah, I think like kind of what we were talking about. I think we should give him and give ourselves a bit of a fair fight.
Yeah, okay,
Give-
continue.
Oh yeah, so there's this jiu-jitsu place that I went to. It was really good. We talked about this guy on the podcast. I don't remember which podcast it was. A podcast a while ago. This guy, John, who performed like we played some jazz at a church. It was and this violinist, classical violinist. Comes out. He's like 12 or something. We talked about this before.
Well, I mean, you say classical violinist, but that implies that he's like classically trained. He's self-taught for the most part, right?
I think he's homeschooled, right?
Yeah, I think he's self-taught, but
Yeah, he's good. And he said he like played jazz like once or twice, and he just improvised. It was okay. Like it was good for, I think, yeah. He knew his instrument pretty well.
yeah.
I don't know how much he knew about improvising, but he knew, like, oh, that's this is the scale that I should play. At least he knew that, and it was good.
Mm-hmm.
But that kid went to the jiu-jitsu place I went to, and
It's a good way to get to know someone.
yeah, that's the thing is I loved all the people there.
Yeah.
The thing is like that place ended up just being like too much time
Yeah.
for my schedule, and like the more life I live, the more I realize that you can't. I just spread myself thin way too much. I have this going on. I have this going on. I'm also doing this on the side, but I'm also really interested in this, and so I'm trying to do all these things.
You
And
just gotta have a couple of, you gotta specify. Really, you do.
just have like, something that you want to be good at and work towards that. Right.
Yeah.
That's the singular. And
I
so.
think too many people specify in browsing Instagram.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, unless you're Eli and it actually pays off because
That's true,
he's
actually.
running
It
a
does.
successful meme page almost at 2K. Shout out to @Canadian_Christ.
Yeah. We were 5 shout
Yeah.
outs now.
I don't think I'd.
Oh,
ever-
6. Did I shout out the place, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
we've got 6.
Oh, no, that's not the place though. That's just that's one of the things they teach. It's Warrior Buddha, is the place.
You said that you weren't gonna shout it out.
No, that was the good one.
That was the
Oh, okay.
He's not shouting out the bad one.
or the one that yeah.
Hmm.
Don't shout it out.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to do anything like that. Not because I'm unfit. I think I might like it, but I've this story to tell. So I was in 2nd grade or 1st grade. I was in a play. I chose to be in this play. I don't like being in plays anymore.
You're one of those kids who chose to be in plays.
Yeah, but now I'm like, I don't like that. And so we were practicing our lines in a separate room, and while there was karate going on in the gym at the school that was going on.
Uh-oh.
And then all the
We're
karate
about
kids had to
find
move out.
How slippery you are. Why you became slippery.
No, this doesn't.
The
No, I
karate
know.
kids revolted against
Yeah.
it.
No, but
We
then,
don't want you guys rehearsing here. It's so fucking. You just say the same thing over and over again, and we're trying to practice our ninja moves here.
yeah. But then the karate kids just left for some reason.
Yeah.
And so all of us were like, oh, we can go into the gym now.
Yeah.
And so we
Sneak
go
attack.
in.
No,
and
you
we
never
sit
do that
down.
with. How many of them were Asian? Because those motherfuckers can hide.
Actually,
I
the
don't know
kid
about
who, anyway. So we get into the gym, and we sit down in a circle, and we're talking about what we're gonna do, and there's just this smell, and I look around, and there's just these brown streaks
Oh
all
my God, I
over
remember this
the
story.
gym floor,
Oh.
and I remember I touched one, and I was
Oh. What the
horrified.
What?
No, what
Wait,
you-
wait, wait,
No,
wait, wait.
I didn't do it on purpose. My
Oh,
hand just
okay.
ended up there.
Oh, okay.
And then
yeah, he was a slippery boy after that. Woo.
yeah, and then then I realized there's this kid who the reason why they left is because this kid just started shitting himself. Well, they were doing karate, and there's just skid marks all over the gym floor.
Wait, how skid marks? What did they do with him? Were they dragging him around?
No.
Or like, did he do like a bouncing
Maybe
across
he
the
was like,
floor?
Oh,
maybe he was like trying to
no.
act cool and just like, whoosh.
That's cool.
It's like, wow, I just feel like, you know how some days You're in your
Okay, I feel like we should not address.
I'm not talking about like. I just mean like some days. You feel like your socks are a little bit more slippery, and so if you're on like a tile or something,
Well,
you
usually-
feel like you slide. Maybe he just felt like it was one of those days, but for his butt, and so he just felt like he could slide around. a
Okay,
little bit.
They were little.
let's
They were
move on.
little skid marks, though. They're like
Cool. Can we move on?
This-
I mean, it's the little butt, right? Elementary
little
school
skid
kid.
marks. Yeah.
God.
And so that's why I wouldn't really want to do karate,
What?
just because that kind of
Is that it?
That's why he was trying to escape the
Well,
battle with Dylan.
I don't know.
The-
Just physical, just all that makes me think. Oh wow,
What if someone?
what if somebody shot themselves and then they
Yeah.
got it all over the floor
Well,
again?
I mean,
I promise you, Eli, I won't shat myself.
I mean, that's probably what the kid thought before karate.
Yeah,
He
and
was
then,
like, "Mom, I promise I'm not gonna shit myself this time." He's
And
like,
then it
"Mom, I
just
don't have any
happened.
control. I'm sorry."
then it just happened. He's like,
Yeah.
it came out. I'm sorry,
Okay,
guys.
I have a similar story.
Okay, I wanna just talk about something that I was gonna say
Sure.
earlier. About the jujitsu, which kind of relates to this, because my favorite thing about doing that class, was just, I mean, you know, of course, you get down on these mats, you really focus. The teachers are great. And then while you're just, I mean, there's this kind of physical contact. Would almost say like intimacy with the people that you're rolling around with.
Yeah.
That I'd never, you know,
They're
you don't-
strangers.
yeah, they're
pretty
strangers.
much.
They're soaked in. You're all soaked in sweat. You're just like absorbing each other's sweat, and but there's something that's really, like, calming and, like, almost, I don't know, not like therapeutic calming, but
Yeah.
I don't, like, also just like refreshing
Yeah.
about, you know, rolling around with strangers, and you know, there's this air of respect, because even though there's usually going to be someone who's better, you still have, you know, anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, that's why fighting
Definitely.
is so good.
yeah.
I think is part of it is just like, I was gonna say this earlier, but like from the beginning of our fight to the end of the fight, there was a clear difference, and the difference was that, you know, you weren't afraid.
Yeah, it's
anymore. You're confident. You're like, okay, even if I lose, so what?
yeah, and I mean, once you get into the groove, it's just like, yeah, it's just amazing. It's just an amazing feeling to, it's just a different feeling.
Yeah.
You don't get that feeling from anything else.
No. And it's so exhausting.
Would
Yeah.
you be able to tell us your story? No.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So, similar story. When I was younger, I used to, on Sundays, I believe it was Sundays. Maybe it was Saturdays. I forget which day it was. But I would go to Merton, which was a place in England. And I would go to their music building, and they would have pretty much, their music building would be open, and they would have like instrument lessons, and symphony, and choir, and brass group. You know, it was just like mostly classical music heaven. You know,
Right.
like if you wanted to join the choir, you could join the choir. If you wanted to join the symphony, you could join the symphony, you know. And so I would go there. I'd I forget the order of it, but I would sing in choir first. Then I think I would go to my trumpet lesson. Then I would go to the symphony. And I'd play my trumpet with a bunch of violins and stuff. And man, in the choir, I don't know why, but one day I threw up, right?
No, I know what. You know, or are you gonna get there?
Why?
Because I don't know if this was the same choir, but I had the story of like, well, this is still going on, but all the time in school, by the time like fifth period rolls around, I have a massive headache.
Yeah.
And we thought it was. I talked to your dad about this, and he thought, or I was talking to you, and he overheard or something, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Dylan would go to the choir room and get
Yeah.
sick because of the fluorescent lighting."
Well, that's why he thought, but I don't know about that because I've never had it happen since, ever.
I mean, it might just have been like the specific light or something.
Yeah, it was really weird, and like it wasn't just once, it wasn't just twice.
It was every time you went to the
It was
choir.
every
right?
time I went.
Oh,
3 times, and then they were like, "Yeah, you should probably not."
that
do
could also be
choir."
just by association, though, right? Like you eat a certain food, you throw it up. I mean, it's different because it's food, but how young were you?
Pretty young.
So you'd think that maybe it would have some kind of psychological effect. That
Yeah.
your first experience there, you threw up,
Yeah.
and so every time you go there, you just think
It
this-
could have been
it's a sickly
psychological
place.
effect. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff I didn't have any psychological effects whenever I threw up in public or afterward.
I did.
Hmm.
I actually, now I think about it, that happened before. But continue.
I also have another great story. I don't know if it also it's also about me throwing up, but it goes more
Fun.
into detail. You know this, and you might remember it.
Yeah, the ramp.
So yeah. So I had lunch one day in elementary school, and there was an orange juice in my lunch, and I drank it. It tasted bad, and I still drank it anyway, because
You were dumb.
I was dumb and I wanted to drink my orange juice.
It's fair.
So I did. A few hours goes by. I went to this thing called Specialist. And Specialist was this thing where every day in the week you'd go to a different class. So like Monday would be music class and Tuesday you'd be going to PE.
Oh yeah.
And then the third day would be you'd go to the library.
Right.
And we went to music. And the music class was basically on the stage and it was enclosed by these big things.
It's one of those. It's a stage that you like. It's right next
You
to the
open
gym.
it up,
So yeah, you open up the stage, but it's not curtains. It's a wall.
But there was a ramp that went up there for kids in wheelchairs. And after I had drank that bad orange juice, I just felt sick. Just all of a sudden, just nauseous. And I was at the top of that ramp, and I just threw up.
Slid all the way down.
Yeah, it went all the way down, and I was in the front of the line, and all of these kids, they're just like,
No.
they're like, oh my god! And so they're running
Jumping
to
up
the
onto
side,
the
they're
railing.
jumping over the
Yeah,
railing,
yeah.
and the gym teacher comes in. The music teacher sees, he's like, oh my god!
Yeah.
And then the gym teacher goes, and he's like, Eli, go to the nurse. I'm like, what? Go to the nurse.
Yeah.
And so I just went, oh, okay. And then I'm walking through my throw up because I couldn't go around because there's kids on the railing.
yeah.
And then I just
The walk
down
of
to-
shame.
yep.
He's like, walk through your throw up, man.
And I
You
just
don't
walked,
drink orange juices that taste like that. No more.
I just walked back to the nurse's office, and I came home. And I don't think my parents, I've probably told my parents, but I don't think they were told that happened at school.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were just like, my brother and I, when we were younger, we just kind of said that we were sick when
Right.
we weren't, just because we didn't want to be at school. And so yeah, they're just like, oh, he doesn't want to be at school. But I was actually just, yeah. Anyway, I probably scarred a few kids when I did that.
Probably.
But I didn't think of it at all. I didn't think of it for the next few years until like, oh shit, that happened.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got a dash.
You do?
I mean, yeah. I told my parents I'd be home at 8.
Wait. Oh. Don't they have to pick you up still?
My mom has
No, it's Eli's mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you
8:30?
could
Damn.
let your mom know, that'd be
More
cool.
shit to talk about, though, guys.
I know. Yeah.
Do you want me to call my mom on here?
No.
Just have
I
her on.
Don't. I don't.
Okay. We should at least do our call.
I don't
Oh.
think so. I think save
Okay,
that
we'll
for another
save
time.
We'll save our
Save that
call for another time.
Should we tell them what it is? or-
No.
No. Okay.
Should
We'll
just
surprise
wait.
them.
Yeah, surprise him. I do want to say like getting sick at school and stuff. That headache that I would always get, that I kind of do always get. It's definitely a lot, not nearly as bad now because I changed one thing, that was like every day I would come to school and I would used to drink a lot of water because I always thought that the problem was that I would get dehydrated.
Yeah.
So I would drink.
Which is fair because that happens on the diet that you're on.
Yeah, and so I would just drink like tons of water. I'd bring a water bottle full of water, drink it all in first period, and then I'd fill it up the water bottle, drink another 2 water bottles before the day was over.
Yeah.
The problem was that I didn't realize this, but it was school water, and apparently there's a problem with school water. I haven't heard anything about this, but all I know is I started bringing 3 water bottles to school instead of just filling up the water bottle, the same water bottle. And then I just drink, actual normal people water, not school water, and my headaches are have significantly decreased
Interesting.
since then.
Well,
I don't know
I
I don't know if maybe it's placebo,
I think,
but I think it's like too drastic of a difference to be a placebo.
There's just something wrong with that water because you could drink it and then you feel like there's something going on. I feel a little worse than I did before.
Yeah, it's definitely just like it's kind of like you bottle up the school experience.
Huh.
Oh, hey, Alex is calling. What's up, Alex? Hello? Alex? Alex?
Butt dialed.
Did he butt dial? I think he probably called because he's watching and he wanted to call
I
in.
would assume so.
I can't hear you, Alex.
Plus the podcast is.
Hey, you hear me?
You're on
Yes.
speaker on stream.
Yeah, ramps are the worst. Fuck ramps. Ramps have only brought fasting to this world.
Amen.
That's
But
my call.
Did he say rants or
He said ramps are the
ramps,
worst.
ramps.
Oh, ramps.
Ramps.
Yeah, agreed.
Ramps covered in puke.
Yeah.
What? Okay, how are we supposed to
Just
move like
orange
disabled
puke.
people around, like people in wheelchairs?
Elevators.
That's a valid.
Install like pulley system elevators,
yeah,
something like that.
Objectively cooler.
objectively cooler. That's true.
Or just put them in front of stairs and be like, you can figure it out.
out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a creative exercise. If they can't get actual exercise, creative exercise at least.
It's like those.
Honestly, any excuse to hoist things up with block and tackle. Way cooler than ramps.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm going to call it about.
Well, thank you, Alex, for calling in.
Great. Okay, bye.
Okay, love you. Bye. Nice.
That was cute.
That was, that was very yeah. So
Feel good.
should we call it a podcast then?
Yeah.
I
Since
think we should call a podcast.
Eli's mom is almost here because
This was good.
it was
This was
alright.
pretty
It was
pretty
alright.
good. I felt good throughout the podcast.
Cool. We can dissect it afterwards so that
Yeah.
listeners don't have to sit through this shit.
That's
They're like, when's the? I'm this far in. I'm gonna finish this because my friends challenged me to, and they paid me money to do this. So I'm gonna
Can't
finish it, and we're just gonna keep holding them on, like dissecting the podcast. And it's like the people are just like, I know how it was. You don't have to tell me what, right? Okay,
Bye, guys.
you could just yeah. So yeah.
Bye.
Thanks.